day, baby. We're going to be here all day.
This is what's great about sports. This is what the greatest thing about sports is.
This is Spittin' Facts with Zack
and Kyle.
I will not tolerate players that think it's about them when it's about the team. To all the non-believers. To all the non-believers.
The sports podcast about the important issues in New York and national sports.
We are not a charity. We cannot give them the game. And still.
Just facts.
So get your facts straight.
Now, here's Zack.
Can't wait.
This is Zack, joined again by my friend Kyle, and we have a new Super Bowl champion. The Kansas City Chiefs are the 2019 NFL champions after they defeated the San Francisco 49ers 31-20 in Super Bowl 54. I thought it was a pretty interesting game.
This is a pretty good game.
I thought it was a kind
Compared to the previous Super Bowl, it was a good game.
Compared to the previous Super Bowl, yeah, it was still kind of an average game, though. I think
there just weren't any big plays.
Yeah, that's the
there
thing
were
that
no
you had
big
mentioned.
plays. Well, there was one big play,
and that was the biggest play,
right?
And that was the biggest play,
right?
I enjoyed watching it. I just kind of felt like it had a weird feel to it for the most part. No team seemed to be able to get into a rhythm again.
No team felt like they were in control. Totally.
Yeah.
Totally.
Until the very end of the game.
Totally.
It's kind of like how last year where no one got into any sort of a rhythm. But regardless, Patrick Mahomes is putting together one of the most spectacular early careers that we've ever seen.
For sure.
He's the youngest quarterback to win Super Bowl MVP and league MVP, and the only other player in total who's also done that under the age of 25 was Emmitt Smith. He is on his way to have just an incredible career, really. He already has an incredible career. 50 touchdown passes last year. And now he's got a Super Bowl championship to his resume.
People were saying if he retires now, is he a Hall of Famer? It's just like, he's good, but it's like, that's a joke. Come on.
Yeah, people were being like, yeah, he's already the greatest of all time.
Yeah, it's like, come on, guys. It's like he's
relax, everybody.
It's like he's technically only played in 2 NFL seasons.
Yeah.
So let's just let's put the brakes.
Technically, he's played in less. He missed 3 games last year. The 3 games this year.
He missed games this year.
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy? I was listening to someone talk about that. How like pretty much there was that point in the season where Mahomes goes down and Kansas City fans are just
when you
like,
hear he had a dislocated knee. Like,
yeah, right. It's like they didn't even know if he was going to come back. And like Matt Moore has that huge win for them. I think against the Broncos.
That's the game in which he got hurt, which they were kind of on their way to winning. But for the most part, like he played okay for them.
Right.
Like, it's not like they went 0-3 when he was gone.
Like Matt Moore now has a ring.
That's hilarious. Yeah, but for the most part, he didn't even play that well. I mean, who would bet that through 3 quarters that Mahomes would have 0 passing touchdowns and 2 interceptions? No one ever would have thought that.
For sure.
And when he had no touchdowns and 1 interception through 3 quarters, and then early in the 4th quarter throws a 2nd interception, and at that point he throws the pass that would have completed a huge 3rd down to Tyreek Hill, who drops the ball and it's intercepted with about a little over 11 minutes left, and you're thinking that the 49ers are in control to win this game, and they do that classic thing that's really been bothering me, where an NFL team, they get a turnover and everyone runs over to the end zone to take a group picture.
That bothered me a lot. That pissed my dad off. My dad's just like, what the fuck are they doing? This is way too much. The game's not even over.
Yeah. And teams do that all the time throughout the season. And
it pisses me off when the Eagles would do that. It's just like, how about you win the game?
Particularly in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
So we can get into more of the specifics. The Chiefs are the 2nd team in Super Bowl history to come back from a 10, or the 3rd team in NFL history to come back from a 10-point deficit in the second half, joining the Patriots in Super Bowl 49 against the Seahawks. And of course, the Patriots in Super Bowl 51 against the Falcons. Damian Williams, he really was the star of the game.
He should have been the MVP, but it's okay. I understand why they gave it to Pat.
I'll pose a question to you in a second
with
that. And so, but he's the first player to have 100 yards rushing and a reception touchdown in the Super Bowl. If you remember early in the first half, when they scored that first touchdown, where Mahomes ran the option play to the right, and then he fakes it to Damian Williams and then tucks it himself and he scores. Mm-hmm. If Mahomes just pitched it to Damian Williams and he ran it in for the touchdown, that would be 1 less touchdown for Mahomes and 1 more for Williams. Do you think he'd be the MVP if he just pitched the ball to him and he scored?
Yeah. I thought he should have been the MVP without pitching the ball. So I think if Mahomes just did pitch the ball, he would have definitely been the MVP.
I still respectfully disagree because I think
without Mahomes,
he energized those 2 drives, and the touchdown that Damian Williams had at the end kind of wasn't even necessary.
Right.
So, and additionally, he scores that touchdown. He's running down the field. He's like, oh my God, about to score a touchdown in the Super Bowl. By scoring that touchdown, it actually left the door open for the 49ers because they still had 2 timeouts and about a minute and 12 roughly to go.
All you got to do is score and just get the onside kick and score again.
Yeah. But if he just slides down after getting the first down, everyone goes home and they win the Super Bowl. But it ended up not mattering anyway because they got it done. I think the biggest issue for me, more so than the Chiefs winning the game, was what the 49ers did to lose the game. We saw the 49ers pass the ball 8 times in the NFC Championship game and have unbelievable success running the football and dominating the game. The 49ers, for majority of this game, were in control and tied or leading majority of the second half. For the game, they ended up throwing the ball 31 times and running the ball 22 times. It doesn't make any sense to me. You would have thought, actually, I would have thought that Kyle Shanahan would have learned from his mistakes in Super Bowl 51. I'm watching the game with my dad. After they get that interception, late in the fourth quarter, they're up 20-10. They run the ball on first down.
They make it 2nd and 5.
2nd and 5. And I'm telling my dad, they're going to run the football here because Kyle Shanahan is going to learn from his mistakes in Super Bowl 51. I know, they're going to run. And they throw a pass, and it's batted down at the line of scrimmage. I couldn't believe it. And now you kind of have to pass in third and 5.
Down. You have to throw.
That's why people are saying, too, well, you don't know what the line is and what the defense is showing you. Even if you get stuff for no gain.
The clock's running.
The clock's running, and you're going to pass on third down anyway.
Right.
You have to run the ball there. You're getting chunk plays all game. I personally thought that 2nd and 5 was the biggest play of the game. And I think you've had the best point of the week. Is Kyle Shanahan now the one that has horrible time management and not Andy Reid? Andy Reid passed the torch
to Kyle Shanahan. That's what it felt like after the game. I was just like, is Kyle Shanahan the new Andy Reid? Is he just an idiot when it comes to end game closing out? Like, just closing out the end of a game?
Like, sometimes you just got to have common football IQ, common sense football IQ, and just run the ball.
It's like, it's first down, let's run the ball. Just like, run the ball.
And they clearly didn't trust Jimmy G that much earlier in the game, too, which leads to the other poor clock management. At the end of the half, the Chiefs are punting. They have all 3 timeouts, and they didn't call a timeout that let the Chiefs be able to run the clock all the way down to the end of the play clock. And then they
got a little screwed over before the end of the half. I thought the Kittle PI call was a little ticky-tacky.
But here's the thing. They only had 6 seconds left after that because they didn't call any of their timeouts. They go into the half with 2 timeouts in their pocket.
For sure. It's not good. Not good management, but I did think that particular penalty. I watched.
What'd you think?
Well, they had a really good I saw a really good side by side of that play in real time simultaneously, paired up with the Kyle Rudolph.
That's the one that everyone was comparing because it's basically the same play.
It basically was the same play, and you watch it, and it's just like, it's tough. It's just so tough. I didn't think the Rudolph PI was PI, and I didn't think the Kittle PI was PI.
That's fair. You just got to be consistent with it.
Right. You just got to be consistent with it, and I just hate to see how that's now PI. I hate watching football games, and you see a good, like, hand-to-hand fight between the corner and the receiver or the tight end, and it's just like, no, PI because he pushed off at the very last second. Did he? Like, not really, just because his hand was on the guy's jersey? Like, I guess, like, it's just like, is this football now? Like, I guess so.
And it really just comes down to the fact that the NFL is making all these ticky-tack rules that makes it even harder for the officials to officiate the game.
100%.
Yeah.
It's like, why don't we just let the guys... I'm just a big believer in sports on letting the guys play. And if there's an obvious foul or obvious penalty in whatever sport, then you blow the whistle or throw the flag. Just interrupting the game over stupid ticky-tacky stuff like that, it grinds my gears, but it's okay. It was a good Super Bowl, honestly. I'm pretty happy. It was entertaining. I'm glad it came down to the last possession. I think that's all you can ask for, right? Final possession. It's getting close. Like, I don't know.
If the 49ers had just run the clock down and the Chiefs never really got an opportunity to get, like, score, imagine how more boring we'd be talking about it. If the final was 20-10, and, like, Mahomes only got the ball, like, one more time. The Super Bowl was really made from the last 7 minutes of the game.
100%.
The fourth quarter, really.
That's a really good point you just made. Like, imagine if the game did end 20-10 and the 49ers won, what would we be talking about? Yeah. I think we'd be talking about how shitty of a game it was. It'd be a really boring game.
But that's not how it ended. The Chiefs were able to score twice. That kind of also brings us back to Jimmy G. I think it's really interesting, too, to think that how, especially in football and in the Super Bowl particularly, how just one or two plays can completely define someone's legacy. So everyone is now questioning whether or not Jimmy G can get it done at all. What if he just puts a little more air on that Emmanuel Sanders attempt on 3rd and 10 and hits Emmanuel Sanders for the touchdown to win the Super Bowl? Everyone's like, all right, Jimmy G can get it done. Belichick had the right idea. Shouldn't have gotten rid of Jimmy G. You know, he's able to win the Super Bowl, make the big throw. And just that one miss really ends up deciding the game. That one play completely decides legacies.
It's crazy. It's crazy how that in the Super Bowl, each play just is so impactful. So impactful. It's crazy.
And then after that, then they're settled with a 4th and 10, and he ends up getting sacked. To go back to the officiating, I'm kind of jumping around a little bit. There's a lot.
It's a lot to talk about. Yeah, it's cool.
A lot to talk about.
It's cool, man.
The Chiefs definitely did get a favor of a good amount of calls.
They got all the breaks. I'm not saying that the officiating was wrong.
Except for that play.
Right.
They ended up getting sacked, but I feel like the play clock totally expired and gave the 49ers a chance to run that play. But obviously it didn't end up mattering. For the most part, there really weren't a lot of flags. I don't think there was any holding calls at all. I feel like they were trying to keep the flags in their pocket.
Good.
Except for that Kittle play, which I can see from the perspective of the official why he made the play or made the call. But it is what it is.
Right.
So I wanted to talk about the go-ahead touchdown to Damian Williams. First of all, I thought it was
You don't think it's a touchdown? I don't think it's a touchdown either. Put it on the 6-inch yard line. Like, if that's even a thing, the 6-inch line. Put it there. Put the ball right there.
We all know it had to do with what the call on the field was, though.
Right.
It just all had to do with the call on the field. It was just so close. But
exactly, it was too close to call, and you can't overturn it.
Yeah.
That's what it really came down to.
But more so with that play, people were talking about like Kyle Shanahan and what he does offensively to kind of have motion and deception with their play calling and their offense. I thought the play that the Chiefs ran there was tremendous. They motioned Tyreek Hill into the backfield, and he's in shotgun. He's got Damian Williams to his left, Tyreek Hill to his right, does Mahomes, and it leaves Travis Kelce one-on-one essentially on the outside with Richard Sherman, and Aikman and me were basically being like, that's that matchup you won, and everyone's thinking they're going to go to Kelce against Sherman. That's a total mismatch for Sherman just with the sheer
size.
Exactly.
Kelce's a beast.
So
yeah, for sure.
What they do is the play snapped, and they basically have Kelce run a hard slant inside, which I thought it was kind of offensive pass interference because he never really ran a route.
He was just kind of holding the guy.
He was kind of just blocking Sherman. But what they do is they motion Hill into the backfield, and they fake basically sweep to Hill to the left, and then they run Williams out into the flat to the right. So if you look at the play, Sherman is running inside to follow Kelce, and the safety, Jimmy Ward, follows Tyreek Hill for like 3 steps because you gotta keep track of Tyreek Hill.
Right.
And by the time that he reacts to the pass coming out in the flat, Williams already has the step, and he's able to get, just barely into the end zone. So it's all about that little play design and deception that is able to facilitate the play working.
Al Pacino said it best, football's a game of inches.
Yeah, and on that point, if they didn't get it,
you got to go for it. You have to go for it.
You'd be down 3,
you gotta go for it.
inches.
I just think
I think you have to go for it too.
You have to. It's just because if you kick the field goal, you send such a terrible message to your team. You're pretty much telling them, I don't trust you guys to score, and it's just such an awful message. It's just not what you want your coach to send to your players. You want them to be aggressive. You want them to go for it there. It's the Super Bowl. You got to pull out all the stops. You got to pull out your best 2-point conversion play right there. If they had to go for it on 4th down, you run it then. You got to get it. If you don't get it, they're on the half-yard line
They're
anyways.
On the half-yard line. You've got a lot of timeouts
exactly.
anyway.
You got 3 timeouts. It's just like that. So I would have gone for it, but
it still would have been interesting to see the decision.
For sure.
They had already gone for it on 4th down twice earlier in the game. One of the times was right before they scored that first touchdown. They go for it on 4th and short, and do you realize that Eric Bieniemy talked about it after the game? They actually ran a play that they stole from the Rose Bowl in 1949 between Michigan and USC.
I heard that. I didn't see the play from the Rose Bowl, but I heard that happened.
But do you remember the play? They're in the backfield, and everyone like spun around in a circle.
Right. Yeah.
And then
for sure.
And then it ended up being a direct snap to the. Oh, wow! Like that was an awesome play.
Awesome play.
Yeah.
Call. Totally. It was cool.
I actually saw someone somehow dug up the play, and it's pretty much the same exact play.
That's sweet.
And it shows how they're really doing their research, and that shows how You know what this shows? Me and my dad were talking about it in the game. It shows how bad of a coach Jason Garrett is. You want to know why? Because
Tell me why, Zack.
Look at all the stuff that Andy Reid and Bieniemy are doing for that Chiefs offense, creativity, and
Thinking outside the box.
and working to the strengths of their team. When Jason Garrett was trying to make Dak Prescott a pocket passer like it's 1990. Facilitate his strengths, run option, get him out in space, like be more creative. But
That's what makes
kind of what I was thinking.
That's what
about
makes a
during the game.
great coach is that they take the talent they have around them and they play and facilitate to their strengths.
Which
and
is the polar opposite of Chip Kelly.
For sure on that. Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. It's like you don't want to have a system where you need guys to conform to you. You want to conform to your guys.
Mm-hmm.
Fucking Chip Kelly.
Yeah,
Why do we have to bring him up?
I just
hate
came up
Chip
with
Kelly.
Jason Garrett. Hey, but it's fine.
Hate Chip Kelly.
You guys have a ring since then anyway. But
We got a ring before Andy Reid. That's sick.
but now he's got a ring too.
I'm so happy for Coach.
happy for Andy Reid.
So happy for Andy Reid. I think everyone's pretty happy for Andy Reid. I think Giants and Cowboys fans are happy for Andy Reid because he got a ring, not coaching the Eagles.
Yeah, that's actually so true. I would have liked him personally to get a ring, but not with the Eagles.
Right. Yeah. So I think everyone was happy because he got a ring and he wasn't coaching the Eagles. So how could you hate the guy unless you're like a Broncos fan?
A Broncos fan or
Like, who's a
Raiders
Broncos fan? Besides my,
You know who's
my
a Broncos
ex-roommate
fan?
Hayden.
The guy Andy who comes in here that helps out, like one of the instructors that's a Broncos fan. Like I think
That sucks.
Yeah, he's a Broncos and Mets fan. How funny is and Nebraska fan. But
Ew,
yeah,
they're
right?
awful.
Yeah, right.
That's so bad.
That's so funny.
Oh my lord. Like at least the Mets put a competitive roster on the field.
Anyway, been back to the game. A couple more notes.
Yeah, what do you got?
So, interesting enough, that was the first time that Mahomes had a multiple interception game since everyone remembers the Monday Night Football game last season where the Chiefs and Rams had the shootout 54-51. He actually threw 3 picks in that game. He hadn't had a multiple interception since that game. Additionally, interesting stat, this is the second straight Super Bowl where no receiver caught a touchdown or had a touchdown. With all the passing and down the field passing, 2 straight Super Bowls where no receiver scored a touchdown.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
That goes to
interesting
show the
quirk.
lack of big plays. It's crazy
Yeah.
because you think of big play, it's either a big run to the running back or a bomb to a wide receiver.
Yeah.
And that was the one big play of the game.
Yeah,
so.
and the touchdowns were in this game by running backs and tight ends. And last
all,
year there
all
was
inside,
only one
all
touchdown.
inside like the
to
5 or
running
10
back.
yard line though. Those like touchdowns. More except like
No,
the
they all were.
right. That's what I'm saying.
Except for the end.
Except for the end one. Right.
Yeah.
Except for the one in the end, but all the other ones were they're in the red zone, so it's different. It's different scoring in the red zone than throwing a 50-yard bomb midfield. You know,
Yeah.
that's just like such a huge. I don't know. Whatever.
And being the Super Bowl nerd that I am, it's the first Super Bowl to have a 31-20 score, 31-20 score.
Oh, it's like a little scoregami.
Yeah, there's only
That's
three.
cool.
There's actually only 3 Super Bowl repeat scores, and none of them have repeated more than twice. It's been
That's cool.
yeah,
That's a
221.
cool stat.
Yeah, Super Bowl 10 and 46 for 21-17. Super Bowl 15 and Super Bowl 12 were both 27-10, and then Super Bowl 30 and Super Bowl 17 were both 27-17. Only 54 Super Bowls, only 3 repeat scores. Kind of interesting.
No, that's actually really cool.
Yeah.
I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Because you would think like a Super Bowl score would be 20-17 or like 21-10.
Yeah.
I don't know, whatever. And,
There's been one-
and you would think that would
yeah.
repeat, but whatever.
It's been 120-17. That was Super Bowl 36 with the Pats and Rams 20-17.
Thanks, Zach.
Yeah. To get off that nerd stuff, why don't we kind of maybe talk about the futures of both teams?
I like that.
Where do you think the 49ers go from here?
I think both teams theoretically should be back, right? When you think about it, they should both play in the Super Bowl again. They got the 49ers.
I think the 49ers were ahead of schedule. They were 4-12 last year. They didn't expect to be here.
Great point. They definitely are ahead of schedule. I think that they have a young coach, regardless of Kyle Shanahan blowing
Yeah.
the end of the game. He's still a top 10 NFL coach. I would put him at the bottom end of the top 10 list.
Offensive mind, at least.
Sure, offensive minded, that's for sure. Jimmy G's still young. He's in his prime.
He's 28 years old. I think the
Mostert kid, maybe he'll be the.
they had a bunch of running backs.
Right.
And then Mostert kind of became the feature guy towards the end of the season.
Maybe he'll do stuff next year. I don't know. To be honest, like I feel like most teams that make it to the Super Bowl and win it kind of just suck next year, like the following year.
Well, that's actually been, excluding the Patriots, obviously.
But they're in a league of their own.
Yeah. Like that's actually been a huge trend within the free agency salary cap era.
For sure.
Where it's so many teams that also not only make and lose the Super Bowl as well. Like the
For
Rams
sure.
did make the playoffs this year after like making the Super Bowl last year. The only other team that I kind of just comes to
Eagles
mind
did.
quickly. I mean, at least they made the playoffs,
Ayo.
but Like the Seahawks are the only other team besides the Pats to have back-to-back Super Bowl appearances since the 90s.
Yeah, that's a greit's a great point. I think the 49ers, if I was a 49ers fan, I'd be optimistic about my future. At the same time, what we just discussed gives me reason for concern. The fact that we were just there, we couldn't get it done. Are we going to get back? It's like Dan Marino, he got there so early in his career.
Great point.
And it's just like, he never got back.
You think he's going to
he's going to get back. Yeah. It's like, yeah.
And that, I'll bring that up when we're done with the 49ers, but they clearly have a talented roster. Kittle kind of came out of nowhere this year.
Still don't like George Kittle.
But the NFC West is very competitive.
That's for sure.
I would expect the Rams to be
better. Yeah.
We'll see what happens with Goff. He signed the huge
contract.
I
would expect the Cardinals take a step forward with Kyler Murray,
right.
sophomore year.
And the Seahawks are right there, obviously.
Of course, the Seahawks are right there.
So
Seahawks
that's a really tough division. So that's why you can never take anything for granted.
For sure.
So, and the point you made up about Marino, I believe, was talking to Mahomes and saying the same thing as him. This is Mahomes' second year as a starter. Marino made the Super Bowl in his second year as a starter. And he basically told him, take advantage of this because you don't know that you'll ever be back.
Right.
Because right now you're thinking Mahomes will have plenty of opportunities, but that's what Marino thought. You never know. So now that he won, he has that monkey off his back. He won it. Think about Brett Favre. He won that Super Bowl in '96 and didn't have to prove anything the rest of his career. He kind of just got a pass the rest of his career because he had a ring. Mahomes will always have that ring. It's not like basketball where you're like, unless you're chasing Tom Brady,
right,
or Montana, but they're kind of in leagues of their own. You can still be considered one of the greatest quarterbacks if you only have one or two rings.
For sure.
It's not like basketball.
For sure.
So the future of the Chiefs, Mahomes obviously is extremely talented. They obviously have a great future. People are talking about Andy Reid maybe retiring after winning the Super Bowl. Why would he retire unless he's kind of going to pull a Bill Walsh where he feel like he can't do it anymore and just wants to spend time with his family finally because we know how hard he worked and he's had problems with his family and his children in the past. From a pure football standpoint, he'd be walking away from a potential dynasty.
Right. I'm so happy Andy Reid got it done. He'll definitely be back. I think he was saying that he wanted to be back, like after winning the Super Bowl in one of the interviews with NFL Network or God knows one of those networks.
The sports network.
The sports network covering the big game.
Exactly. That
was cute. Yeah, I think the Chiefs. It's like I think we kind of. I don't know what else needs to be said. I feel like we talked about it all. The Chiefs are a good team. They should be back.
Definitely got an easier division than the 49ers.
Oh, for sure. Now that Rivers is most likely not on the Chargers, they're not a team. They don't have a quarterback. The Broncos are a joke.
That's a story for another day, Brady and all that stuff. But the Broncos are kind of a joke.
The Raiders are a joke.
And both of those teams are pursuing Brady, and like that kind of shows them where they are as a franchise, where they're like kind of chasing after Tom Brady.
For sure.
Chiefs are very easily, what you would think, win their division next year, which gives you a jump start. Obviously, getting a home playoff game, and I would not be shocked to see them back. It'd be interesting to see with the Ravens how they respond after being so good this year. Harbaugh wins Coach of the Year, 14-2 MVP season, unanimous MVP for Lamar Jackson, by the way. Only second guy to win unanimous MVP. Kind of surprising, but yeah, I think the best teams are still the Ravens and the Chiefs and the.
That's a good point. I think one thing I always love is thinking about which teams that were good this year are still going to be good in the following year.
Because a lot of times there's teams that you think are going to be good are not good.
Oh, it happens every year. Every year you watch ESPN and they make their division predictions, and every analyst is just picking the team that won it last year. It's like, do you really think the playoffs are going to look exactly the same? Do you really think each team is going to win the division that won it last year? Like, come on, it's a joke. Like, if you think the Packers are going to make the playoffs, like, maybe they win the wild card and the Vikings win the division, or maybe
everyone was on the Bears this year.
Yeah, everyone
Bears
was
can
on
take
the
that
Bears.
next step.
Yeah, because they should have done it the year before, and we spoiled their run. Like when the Eagles spoiled their run, and like
double doink.
Yeah. Thanks, Cody Parkey. Oh, you won there. And just like. One thing, going back to the Chiefs and like their future, like as someone who watched their team win the Super Bowl recently, when your team wins the Super Bowl, you low key don't really care if they suck for the next 5 years. Yeah, I'm not even gonna lie. I wouldn't know, but yeah, I'm not even gonna lie. It's just like the Eagles won the Super Bowl. If they ended up sucking, finishing in last in the division the next 5-7 years, That's cool with me.
Yeah, because we're not Yankee fans, and we're not expecting a title every single season.
It's like that's cool, man. I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
You know, we got it done. You can have a little break.
And something that,
but it's nice that we're competitive. It's always great to be competitive, but it's like it's not like you're as fanatical about winning it all. Like, let's say like a Browns or a Vikings fan or a Bills fan or a Jets fan.
Vikings, Jesus. And from like a player's perspective, it's hard to eat when you're full.
Oh, for sure.
You just got it done, and now you got to. That's why winning back to back, in addition to how the league kind of makes it hard to have a team consistent for that long, going back to back. From a player's perspective, it's hard to have that same motivation when you just won it last year.
For sure, 100%, hundo on that.
Yeah, before we stop talking about the Super Bowl, did you see what happened at the parade earlier?
Yeah,
the police chase.
Sweet.
Do you have any updates on that other than just the police chase? Because I didn't really pursue it. I just saw the video.
Yeah, I don't have any really updates on it. Just from what I've heard, and I think we probably heard the same stuff. Just some guy was being an idiot and drove his car through the route where the Chiefs were conducting their parade, the same route, the same streets that were blocked off. So because of that, he just led police on a massive chase. And the ending of it is raw.
I mean,
the ending is raw.
They treated him like
a criminal.
Yeah.
Yep.
Spun out his car,
gunpoints everywhere. Yeah. People screaming orders.
Imagine going to the championship parade and then seeing that.
Right.
I'd be so rattled.
I would think a terrorist attack is going on.
Totally.
I would totally think
or like someone's trying to like shoot up the place.
Right. I would think that like someone's trying to drive a bomb somewhere. Like 100%. If I see cops acting like that, I'd be like, I'm going home.
Yeah. So
watch this on the TV.
Bottom line is, Chiefs won their first Super Bowl since Super Bowl IV in 1969. They're now two-time champions. The 49ers have now lost 2 consecutive Super Bowls after starting 5-0 in the Super Bowl.
That's rough for their franchise.
Yeah, poor guys. But anyway, I feel like people don't talk about how the 49ers have won a Super Bowl less recently than the Cowboys, but neither here nor there. They've been generally, obviously, way more successful.
They're a respectable organization.
Still way more successful. 2 side notes on the Super Bowl that don't actually have to do with the game before we move on. So everyone saw that Demi Lovato tweet. Did you see that Demi Lovato tweet?
About her wanting to sing the national anthem at the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
she ended up doing it.
Tweeted that out. So
very cool.
She tweeted that out during halftime of Super Bowl 44, which was the last time that the Super Bowl was in Miami.
Interesting.
So then she ends up singing it in Miami. And then Mahomes had a similar tweet where he said, I would love to know what it feels like. This is not verbatim, but what it's like to win the Super Bowl and be the quarterback that says, I'm going to Disney World. And the Super Bowl that he tweeted that during was during Super Bowl 47, which was the last time the 49ers were in the Super Bowl, and then they lost the Super Bowl. So
those are cool tidbits.
Interesting parallels. Do you have anything else? Because I'm good before we move on.
Yeah, do you want to add
the state of New York sports? We'll be moving on.
I do want to add 2 quick things before we move on. What were your thoughts on the halftime show?
Oh, halftime show? I watched it more so than I had in the past because
it's J-Lo.
You're all on J-Lo. Like, I'm on Shakira.
They're both great. Lie. They're both great. It was.
I didn't notice like the really sexual stuff until I didn't notice like that super sexual stuff until I saw it on like Instagram.
From my perspective, phenomenal halftime show. Shakira killed it. J-Lo killed it. It was very sexy, very entertaining.
Better than Adam Levine shirtless.
Yeah, that's all I can ask for. Better than Coldplay and Beyonce. Better than Adam Levine. Yeah, it was.
Shakira's 43 and J-Lo is 50.
And they look like they're 22.
It's insane.
Amazing. I want those jeans.
What an unbelievable turnaround story for Alex Rodriguez.
I was going to say also like the video of A-Rod in the crowd. I'm sure you saw that. Amazing. He's so happy for his girl, J-Lo. He's just like all on like totally supporting her. It's great. It's kind of cute, even though I hate A-Rod. It's cute.
What a turnaround story.
Second thing last thing before we move on. What was your favorite ad?
Oh, okay. I love the Groundhog Day one.
Good one.
I believe it was a Jeep commercial. I don't even realize what most of these things even advertise for, but just because it was honestly so well done. At the same clock, same town, but obviously Bill Murray. And I thought it was really well done. It's a movie that I've actually seen. I don't watch a lot of movies, but I appreciated that one. I thought it was very clever. What about you?
My favorite Super Bowl ad, to be honest, there weren't any ads this year that I didn't like or hated. There weren't any really that stood out where I was just like, what the fuck was that? But the one that I liked the most was the Hyundai Sonata ad for their new car and their cab pack.
South Park? Yeah,
they're self-cab packing, And they got like Chris Evans and Jim from The Office. I still don't know his name. It's John something. I know that, but
it's Jim from The Office.
It's exactly. It's John something, aka just Jim for The Office.
Yeah.
So him and Chris Evans, because I like Chris Evans. And Ortiz had the cameo out the window. It was a funny ad and it was clever, and I liked it just because of the whole Boston thing. It was funny.
Yeah.
Because people in Boston talk like that, so it's funny. It's funny making fun of them.
Yeah,
That's
I agree.
it.
I
Yeah.
enjoy that one too. All right, so like I said, Chiefs
New York sports.
Chiefs Super Bowl champs. So moving on from great franchises and champions to
the laughingstock of the league.
Literally the complete opposite. The New York Knicks. New York Knicks have fired Steve Mills. Steve Mills, I'm going to say this. Everyone points the finger to James Dolan, and rightfully so. Take a look at the timeline that Steve Mills was working with the New York Knicks in conjunction with the success of the team. He joined the team within some capacity in 1999, which is the last time they made the finals. They made a conference final in 2000, and as his kind of presence on the team is becoming more apparent, they became a complete joke through all the 2000s.
Yeah, 2000s, 2010s.
He leaves the team in 2009 to be work with Magic Johnson Enterprises, and they start building up their team. They make the playoffs in 2011 and 2012, have their best season in 15 years in 2013 with a 54-win team. Now that he's been gone for several years, he then comes back and is rehired to the team in 2013, and everything falls apart ever since then. I feel like he might be the overall
more toxic than James Dolan.
He obviously has way more impact on what the Knicks are doing.
For sure.
And his timeline just adds up way too much with their I don't know. I feel like he could be maybe the reason why free agents haven't been coming here. He's the one who's kind of in charge for a lot of the team. He was the GM starting back in 2013 and then became team president in 2017. They bring in Scott Perry. He was really well respected, Scott Perry. But Mills is still the president, and they're still awful. And think about last year, they hired David Fizdale, really well respected coach.
Gone.
This year, after 10 games, they have that fugazi random press conference where they come out and Steve Mills comes out and says, yeah, we didn't expect the team to be this bad. We're very disappointed and needs to get a lot better. Hey, what is the point of coming out and saying that? It's obvious. All it does is put immense pressure on your coach
and the
players, and then you end up firing them after 10 more games. So you have that ridiculous thing earlier in the year, and now right before the trade deadline, he gets canned. I don't know what the future of the Knicks is right now.
How do they still have fans?
Because of New York. And
I just don't understand that. Like, how do you, if you're a New York Knicks fan, how are you actually still a fan? It's like Max Kellerman. I feel like
diehard fans.
I feel like 5 years ago he was just like, yeah, I'm no longer a Knicks fan. I can't take it anymore.
Yeah, now he's a Lakers fan. What a loser.
I'm kind of rooting for them to win it all.
Okay, but besides that, he's just like, yeah, I'm done with this team. I'm going to be a Lakers fan.
Right, that's soft.
And he's a Yankees fan already. Like, go away.
Yeah, that's a cuck move. But
I don't know. I don't know. They're currently targeting Masai Ujiri from Toronto.
Good hire. I think that would be a great hire.
Okay, so here's the thing. You can't just hire him.
Right.
He's under contract through 2021. So after next season. So they're talking about bringing him in now. It would have to be via trade. You would have to give up first-round pick capital. Why would you give up first-round pick capital when that's the type of capital that he needs to do his job to build the team?
Imagine
completely counterproductive.
Imagine being Masai Ujiri, getting traded for a bunch of valuable capital, coming to the Knicks, and then being like, guys, what the fuck?
Like,
what am I supposed to do now?
I can't do anything.
What the fuck? What do you want me to do? I got here, but now what? You traded away all my assets.
Yeah.
I'm not going to do anything.
And then everyone would blame him for not being able to turn it around.
Exactly. It's amazing.
It just seems like that everything is done in the wrong way. These firing coaches and GMs and presidents should be done during the offseason. They have now fired a coach and a GM, or a coach and a president, within the same regular season. And the trade deadline is this week. What are they going to do at the deadline? You got Marcus Morris, who clearly could be a valuable piece for a championship team.
He's a good player. I still like him.
Potentially get back a first-round pick for him. But who's making that decision? I guess it's going to be Scott Perry. He's the general manager, but you have no team president. You have an interim coach.
And James Dolan is still your owner.
And he's still the owner. I think this, honestly, could have been a combination of two things. We know that James Dolan's incredibly sensitive. The other night after that debacle where Elfrid Payton pushed Jay Crowder to the ground and that brawl started, and it was just embarrassing, and the entire Garden was chanting, sell the team, and Dolan is there, you know?
Oh, for sure. Sitting in his little box or whatever, his booth.
No, he doesn't sit in the booth. That's the whole thing.
But it's like his courtside box or whatever. His courtside section.
Yeah. You don't think that irked him to make a move?
Oh, totally irked him.
Yeah.
He is very sensitive. Like the old Charles Oakley fiasco.
Oh, God,
he's just really sensitive.
God, I love that.
Yeah, he's just really sensitive. Oak's just like letting him hear it because he needs to hear it, and he doesn't want to hear it.
Oak's kind of insane, too, which is what made the entire thing
Oak
even better.
Insane.
I think the bottom line is I don't know what the hell the Knicks' direction is right now. If they bring in Ujiri, they're going to have to give up capital, or they'd have to wait several years. They just drafted R.J. Barrett. Kevin Knox hasn't been progressing. They got
Kevin Knox is trash.
I mean, he's very young. And
he's young in second year, but he's not good.
They won't renew his contract. He'll go to some other team and be an all-star.
Yep.
So, yeah, I mean, that's how it's going to be. I love it because I just think it's hilarious.
It's very entertaining to watch.
Because I am not a New York Knicks fan. Obviously, I'm a Celtics fan to remind potentially.
Man, our team is good.
Definitely is.
We'll talk about our team next week.
Maybe I'll get more into basketball now that football's over. But, yeah.
It just sucks watching regular season basketball games because you feel like no one's actually trying.
This year more than ever, it's been
for
crazy.
sure. You feel like no one's actually trying. There's no defense. Let's just chuck up threes.
The analytics have taken over where everyone's taking threes.
What's the point in driving to the basket when I can just chuck up a three?
No, that's the thing, though. Driving to the basket is still a play.
It better be.
No, it's driving. It's driving to the basket and threes. Because a layup is an extremely high percentage play.
Right.
And then the three is you're getting more points and it's still being shot at a high percentage. So basically, any 2-point shot not in the paint is like considered a horrible shot.
Goes against everything I've ever learned playing the game of basketball.
What about Kevin Garnett's 15-footer from the elbow? Pierce driving up in the mid-range.
Right.
You know?
Like a 10-foot floater.
Like you can take a look. I don't have the exact numbers in front of me. Take a look at Brook Lopez's career stats. Takes like 8 total threes his first 6-7 years in the league, and he's taken over 500 threes the last 3 seasons.
That's funny you said that. It'd be really cool to look at like a Brook Lopez heat map of like where he shot the ball each season over the course of his career and seeing how it's changed over time because more and more big guys are being asked to shoot the three.
Like he launches from deep with Milwaukee. It's hilarious.
It's a stretch 4.
Stretch 5. He's a total center.
Yeah, I know, but it's like, is there
a 5?
I was about to say, are there? Sorry, I was about to say, like, are there centers? Like, it's like, are there even 5s? Like, not really. Like,
and you know, just happened yesterday. The Rockets in a huge deal, the biggest deal actually in terms of total amount of players, 12 players involved, biggest deal since the Patrick Ewing trade actually in 2000. They sent Clint Capella to Atlanta, is the highlight of the deal. So that's their center. They run a lot of pick and roll with him. And it's kind of being reported that they're not even going to try to get another center. They're going to have P.J. Tucker play the 5 and just have complete small ball. P.J. Tucker's a 3-point shooter.
Right.
And he's going to be your 5? Like,
good luck. Have fun playing defense unlike Giannis.
Have fun dealing with Anthony Davis in the playoffs. You know, with Jokic in the playoffs.
For sure.
You know, we'll definitely talk more about basketball because I will be more into it.
It's football's over now. Yeah,
I will be more into it. But you know, the Knicks have no direction. The Nets kind of have a wash season right now. Kyrie, another injury, could have been a lot worse after spraining his knee the other night. He's been injured on and off all year, and if he's not being injured, he's putting up great individual performances that doesn't necessarily lead to winning, or he's just saying unbelievably cryptic and toxic things to the media and being a huge disgrace about it.
At least the Nets are run functionally. Front office wise, they're respectable and they have it on lock. At least the Nets are like respectable to watch. It's like at least they have an actual basketball team that they can field on the court, and it's just like, okay, they're competitive. But the Knicks, you feel like they're never going to win the game, even though they might. But it's like, unless they're playing the Warriors.
You can easily make the argument that, obviously we're not talking about hockey, that they're the worst franchise in all of the 3 major sports over the last 20 years.
In New York?
Over the last, no, period. over the last
The Knicks?
20 years. I mean, who's a worse franchise? Browns, maybe. Browns would be the only other thing over the last 20 years.
I would have to think.
I mean, the Mets have been to a World Series. The Mets have been
the Mets have been competitive.
Yeah, exactly.
Dude. That's
exactly.
like not even comparable.
The Jets have been competitive at times. They made
At times.
but more so, the Knicks have been
For sure.
The Knicks have won one playoff series since that 2000 season, and that one playoff series, they nearly blew a 3-0 lead to the Celtics in that first round series in 2013. Desperately trying to blow that series. Yeah,
I'd agree. I think
they're horrendous.
Yep. I don't know what else there is to say.
Yeah.
There's not much. They're just so bad that it's not fun talking about them.
Yeah, that's why we haven't talked about them a lot, but the Steve Mills thing has kind of led to us talking about it. But I totally agree. You know, when something major happens, I'm going to talk about it, but I'm not. What's the point of breaking down what they do every week on the court?
When it doesn't even matter.
It's a complete
it doesn't even matter.
joke.
It's not even exciting. If like something breaks, like when the Knicks hire their next president, let's say it's a big name guy.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, okay, Knicks hire this big name guy. We'll talk about it. But at the end of the day, does it even matter talking about it? Because they're so dysfunctional. Nothing's going to really happen anyways. This season's obviously a wash.
Yep.
The next 5 years are probably going to be a wash. So I don't know.
Knicks have had like a 5-year plan for like 15 years.
That's a great point.
Yeah.
That's really funny.
It's about being patient for another 5 years every year. You know?
Very funny.
So we established that the Mets aren't the worst franchise in all of sports, or even New York for that matter.
Not the worst, but definitely the most laughable.
Definitely not great. So, being reported yesterday that multiple sources have reporting that Steve Cohen's deal to have an 80% majority stake in purchasing the New York Mets has basically fallen through. Allegedly, the Wilpons were changing parts of the deal of their non-disclosure agreement after they had already agreed upon it, and the Wilpons were coming in and making changes to the deal. That's clown behavior. And Cohen,
shady shit.
Cohen is a businessman, and he's like, I'm not dealing with that. I don't need this team to be successful, and you're gonna start amending parts of the deal without telling me. So now it's looking like he may not end up buying the team after all.
Probably not.
You know who called that?
Who?
You.
Oh, really? Who would have thought?
And you know how we have proof of that? From episode 2 and Kyle's first appearance on this show.
Check us out, episode 2, if you haven't listened to it. It's pretty good.
Yeah. First appearance on the show when this news was just breaking, Kyle gave his thoughts about what would ultimately happen with Steve Cohen's attempt to purchase the New York Mets. But he's not making majority decisions.
Right. So he's trying to get Wilpon's stake in the team, and that's going to be a really long, lengthy process, which
5 years.
I would bet you that over that 5-year period, Wilpon will probably want to back out of the deal and keep the team and be the majority owner.
Kyle.
I guarantee you that will happen.
Kyle, don't.
I'm calling it on the show that
I thought you were going to say that Wilpon will be like, I just want to get out of here early.
I think he's going to keep the team. I think he's going to have some terrible advice. He has terrible friends, and they're going to say, why the fuck are you selling the Mets? They're making you so much money.
I just heard that a lot of his family doesn't want to be a part of the team anymore.
You know, so then he hires people to run the team. That's what you do when you're the owner.
You heard it here first. Kyle Tolkien. I didn't want to believe it at the time, and it only took 2 months.
Yeah, it's much earlier than I thought.
Like, even you didn't think it would be that quick. So think about this. This offseason, we've had an owner that never owned and a manager that never managed.
That's amazing.
In this one offseason.
Oh, Lord.
It's unbelievable.
The laughable
you know what?
Mets.
And the thing is, I thought the Mets did a lot of good things this offseason, and this kind of has a poor feeling about it. It kind of puts a stain on the offseason. Where it,
especially right before pitchers and catchers, it almost sucks the life out of the beginning of the season.
It just makes you feel like they have no direction. Again, not like they necessarily did anyway, but it just makes them feel very dysfunctional going into the season. The Luis Rojas hire is already a question, and the Wilpons are just Wilponing. And what was the deal? The deal didn't even make sense anyway. If you're going to buy the team, why are you going to be like, I'll buy it in 5 years? Like, that's just a really weird investment to make too. Because then the Wilpons could be like, I'm going to do whatever I want with the team, and you're going to have it in 5 years anyway.
Right.
So clearly they were doing some shady stuff in that agreement, and Cohen wasn't going to deal with the BS. And it's so ridiculous. It's so frustrating.
It is frustrating. It's a little frustrating.
It's so frustrating. Like, everyone thought that the reign was over, but it's clearly not. I don't know.
I'm looking forward to Met baseball more than I am Red Sox baseball. How sad is that?
Yeah. So
How sad is that?
crazy what's happening with the Red Sox right now.
Complete rebuild mode.
They're in total rebuild mode right now.
It's so sad.
So they're waiting for the conclusion of the. It looks like that they're waiting for the conclusion of this cheating scandal investigation to even consider hiring a manager. We got pitchers and catchers in a week, and they still don't have a manager.
Yep, we don't have a coach.
It seems like they're almost taking a knee on the season right now.
Yep.
Like maybe they'll still be. They won't be awful.
Which sucks
They're not gonna
because
be
we
awful.
still have good players on the team.
They're not going to be
That's
awful.
why it sucks. That's what makes
Yeah.
it hurt. That's what makes the Mookie trade hurt so much because we still have great players on the team. Benintendi is a stud. Rafael
Sale,
Devers is
yeah.
a stud.
Yeah.
Sale, got to get your shit together.
Yeah, but still.
Stud. It's just really frustrating. There's a lot of guys on the team who I really like, and they're fun to watch. But now watching Sox games, it's gonna sting. It's gonna hurt. It's just gonna hurt a bit. It's like, damn, Mookie's not on the squad. Like, what the fuck are we even doing? Who's gonna be the manager?
Yeah.
Like,
And for those that didn't hear, a lot of people were moving around yesterday. So basically, the Dodgers acquired Mookie Betts, also David Price. The Sox will still be paying a lot of Price's salary.
which sucks. At least if they're gonna take him, take all the money.
Yeah. It should first be said nothing is official yet, as certain aspects of the trade haven't been completely agreed upon, but the Red Sox are getting two main prospects back in this deal. Alex Verdugo is an outfielder from Los Angeles. He exceeded his rookie limits last year and actually played very well. In 106 games and 377 plate appearances, he had 101 hits, 44 RBI, 12 home runs, and hit .294 with an on-base of .342. He also had a big hit in extra innings on Sunday Night Baseball at Fenway last year, kind of put the game out of the reach for the Dodgers, so he's definitely no scrub. And additionally, the Red Sox are getting a pitcher, Brewster Graterol, which I probably pronounced wrong, from Minnesota within this deal. His fastball reaches triple digits, so he definitely has a strong arm, but reports are his medicals actually may be holding up the deal at the moment. Basically, they're trying to reset and go under the tax threshold and then reset their tax hit. And apparently they can save up to $40 to $50 million because their payroll got so out of control, but they got a tile out of it. So I don't know how much it really matters. Kind of like what you're saying, that it's okay that this rebuild's happening. We want to bring.
Right. It's like you can afford to see your team suck after you see them win a title because you saw them win a title.
Yeah.
So it's like it takes the sting a little less out of it, but it still hurts. Like I was going to say, like I understand that the Sox have no farm system and that we have a bunch of terrible contracts on the team that really hinder our process of moving forward and building a contender.
Yeah, you're
and
right.
that's why we traded Mookie. Like I understand the logistics on why we did it. It's just we couldn't make it work. We couldn't pay him the money he wanted. Like it just we're so above the tax the luxury tax.
Yep, you got it.
Yeah, we're so above the luxury tax. It's just like
The tax threshold.
Yeah, we're so above the threshold. So I understand the logistics of why we're trading him, but it still doesn't make it suck less.
So there were rumors, because he's will be free agent after this season, that there were rumors that he was declining that becoming standard, it seems like, 10-year, $300 million contract, and he was requesting 12 years, $420 million.
Can't blame him.
Yeah.
He's good.
And someone's going to give it to him.
For sure.
And like the Sox were not willing to give it to him. Additionally,
Can't blame the Sox either.
Yeah. And
It sucks. It's just such a shitty scenario. It sucks. Sucks for everyone involved.
except for Mookie and Price.
Fuck you, Mookie.
Like they're
Damn it, Mookie.
Yeah. And additionally, Jock Peterson gets sent to the Angels, and also they get pitcher Ross Stripling in that deal as well, or there's many deals. And then Kenta Maeda ends up being shipped out to Minnesota. Minnesota's going to be a good squad this year too.
They should. They definitely should compete hard.
Yeah, because Kenta Maeda is a very good player. He's he's a starting pitcher, or he can come out of the being relief. He's proven that he can do both. But I'll say for the NL East, which maybe quickly on that, the NL East, probably the best division in baseball.
Yep.
I think any of the teams, excluding the Marlins,
they don't even
have
count.
a chance of winning the division.
They don't even count as being a part of the NFC East.
The NL East?
Sorry. Oh, that was
still on football.
Still on football season.
It's all good.
Still on football.
Yeah, but I think the Nationals are still going to be very good, even though they lost Rendon.
I think they will definitely compete.
Yeah, Braves probably still the most talented overall team.
The Nationals seem like the team that, even though they just won it all, would be the least likely team to actually be hungover. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I could see that.
I feel like they would still be hungry. I feel like they have that camaraderie and that sort of like fire. I feel like Davey Martinez just kind of injects that into the team. Like Soto's really young. Like they have a bunch of young guys. He's sick. I can't wait to watch him play again.
Yeah, I agree. And then the AL East, I mean, The Sox.
If the Yankees don't win the division, it's a complete failure.
Oh my God! If they
That's
didn't
pretty
win the
much-
division, that would be amazing.
That's pretty much how that's gonna
Yeah, I
have
mean
to work
the
out.
Orioles are horrendous. The Blue Jays are awful right now.
The Rays can compete, but
Rays can
that's-
compete,
that's
but
it.
if they won the division, that would be
utter shock,
Yeah.
huge shock, yeah.
And additionally, in New York sports, New York baseball, James Paxton actually just recently had surgery on his back, I think to remove a cyst. He's going to be out 3 to 4 months. He might be out until
That'll
June.
be longer.
If only they
When they say 3 to 4
Yeah.
months, that means 5 to 6 months.
if only they didn't already have the deepest rotation in baseball. This shouldn't be a huge blow for that staff, as the rotation to begin the year will probably likely be a combination of Cole, Tanaka, Severino, Montgomery, and Happ. I'm sure they'll be able to get through this. Why don't we quickly talk about what grinds our gears? Mm-hmm. Okay? This is what grinds my gears.
You know what really grinds my gears?
What grinds your gears, Zach?
How everyone is referring to the NFL season or the Super Bowl champion from the year that the Super Bowl took place.
I'm
The
guilty of
Chiefs
that.
are not the 2020 champions.
I'm guilty of
They're the
it.
2019 champions, and I hate you for that.
Sorry, bud.
People are like, oh, this is the first Super Bowl the Chiefs won since 1970. No, that's the 69 Chiefs. And particularly, Pro Football Reference is an extremely reputable source, and they like to post things all over social media. And all of their stuff is referring to the playoffs year that it happened. So what about sometimes when it's week 17 on January 1st? Is that from you counting that from the previous or that year that the January is? It didn't happen this year, but if the regular season went into January 2020, would you refer to something that had happened in week 17 of 2020? No. That's ridiculous. People have to understand that it's the 2019 NFL season and the playoffs extend into 2020. That means there would be no NFL champion in 1965 because that's when they made a transition into January. Previously, it had been December. It just bothers me that reputable sources don't understand that.
Oh, Pro Football Reference was messing it up?
Pro Football Reference was messing it up repeatedly.
Ouch.
I was tweeting at them, and they're not listening to me.
Ouch.
It was really bothering me. And obviously ESPN and all the other things for them, it's not consistent either. It makes it very confusing.
Oh, yeah. I find it confusing. It's also confusing because when you want to talk about an event that happened in the past, especially with football, and like, let's say you want to talk about like, I don't know, Super Bowl 40.
Yeah, it's the 2005 season.
Right. But like, because the Super Bowl physically happened
Yeah.
in the year 2006, people, and it happened because it was
Yeah.
also a long time ago, people will be like, oh, the Super Bowl in 2006.
Yeah. It's frustrating.
It's frustrating. It's confusing. Like it's just hard because it also makes it easier for older people. I know when I talk to my dad, I'll be like Super Bowl in 2006, like the game that happened in 2006. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
But it's just tricky.
It's just the lack of consistency also makes it very confusing to figure out what the hell everyone's talking about. So that's what grinds my gears. What about you, Kyle?
You know what really grinds my gears?
What is it?
The whole Mark D'Antonio fiasco
Yeah.
this week. So if you guys haven't heard, Mark D'Antonio, Michigan State football coach, is stepping down from being the football coach. People are saying he is saying that has nothing to do with the recent allegations that have come out against him and the Michigan football team. However, that is the biggest bullshit ever. As anyone who knows anything about the world, he's totally stepping down because of these allegations, as well as other things that happened to the Michigan State football team while he was there. He just got paid his massive signing bonus in the beginning of the year. Signing day is literally today.
Yeah.
Literally today.
Mm-hmm.
So the timing of him
Takes the signing bonus is like the shadiest part too.
yeah, it's just he's a huge piece of shit. Every single football coach in the Big Ten is a piece of shit. They're
Big
all
Ten's had some horrible stuff, and Michigan State in particular.
Michigan State's had horrible
basketball
stuff.
and football and Larry Nassar.
Yeah, they've had a really bad rap.
And I think to what grinds your gears is the fact that he's trying to play it off as it's not obviously something way deeper than what he's trying to say.
Exactly. It's just such a joke, and like he's just like does he really think we're that stupid?
Yeah,
Like, does he really think we're that
that's
dumb?
a great point. It's a fantastic point.
That's it. I don't know.
So yeah, I feel you.
We gotta go.
Yeah. So just quickly before we go, you gonna watch the XFL this weekend?
Yes, I am going to watch the XFL. I have officially decided on being a DC Defenders fan. They got my boy Scooby right.
Yeah. That's why.
They got my boy Scooby.
Yeah.
I'm so excited. Let's
Yeah.
go. Come on, Scooby. Make a big play on Saturday. Let's go, kid.
Yep. New York Guardians will be playing the Tampa Bay somethings on. I don't even
Vipers.
remember. Tampa Bay Vipers on
think.
Sunday.
I think it
so.
was the
Yeah, we'll be
Vipers.
breaking down the New York Guardians game next week for sure. New York sports, but actually not really at all.
We'll talk about the XFL. I'm going to watch.
Yeah, I'll talk about what I
talk
thought
about
about
it.
the game.
Yeah, be cool.
And we'll see if it's any near of an interesting product. So to wrap it up, the New York sports are kind of a disgrace right now. The Chiefs are the Super Bowl champions. And next week might be a dead week of sports, and we'll see what to talk about next week. So hopefully you guys enjoyed the show. I think we had a really good show. And hopefully join us next time on another episode of Spittin' Facts with Zack and Kyle.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to Spittin' Facts with Zack
And Kyle.
Follow Zack on Twitter at SpittinFacts40 and continue listening on Anchor or wherever you get your podcasts.